How is your real estate journey going, mate?
Good, very, very good.
Haven't checked in a while.
Yeah.
Almost coming up on 3 months in, which feels like
a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you've stuff.
Yeah. That's what happens when you work 7 days a week. Eh?
Yeah.
Really, really good. Feel a lot more comfortable in my position now, and I feel like I've kind of got my sunk my feet in, and just
proving yourself.
Well, obviously, still kind of establishing myself and everything, but it was kind of just definitely that single swim, just kind of got chucked in. And it was really interesting using a lot of the, like, you know how we're talking about like that fail faster model like thing, and I was like super clear at the start. I was like happy to kind of just be thrown into it, but like I'm going to make mistakes, and like I won't make the same mistake twice. But
what's some of the mistakes that you've made so far?
I had a really good one. I put keys in the wrong folder.
For the wrong house.
For the wrong house. So Ray's just grabbed this folder, driven out to Palm Cove, went to do a private inspection, and there was no keys in the folder.
Gig, man.
So I think that was on my second or third day.
Wow. Okay. So really failing fast.
Yeah. So now I check the key in the folder every single time before I put it away.
Yeah.
The other ones were just kind of like little ones, but that was like my first probably like big fuck up, and I learned really, really quick. It's like good. I'm having a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
So
and the team.
Awesome.
Yeah, but it's interesting too. I've noticed since like, because my brain has just been a sponge over like the last 3 months. Like obviously learning like the brand, the industry, the legislation, the psychology, like just everything that comes with like a new role, a new industry. I've noticed my like not personal development, but just my like yearning for wanting to learn things outside has kind of slowed a little bit, because like by the time I get home or you know, my brain is just kind of maxed, but I feel that like slowly coming back. I've started listening to podcasts again, started reading again. So I think, it's starting to balance out a little bit, which is really
heavily
nice.
Into your work at the moment.
I've been locked in, and I was talking about this last night. I was really struggling. Like, it's so hard to like not make it your personality.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like when you're doing it 7 days a week, and everyone like that I'm around it's just like your entire life. It's hard to just like kind of segment that and leave that and then still talk to other people about other things.
Yeah.
But I guess, that's everything.
Well, especially in an
everyone.
industry where it's relying on the personal brand.
Yeah.
And like you are the real estate agent because you've put your sign on a bus.
Yeah.
Like you put your face on a bus.
Yeah.
But what other jobs are doing that?
No.
So do you think it's easier to pair away from your job and have like a different identity and a different, interests and hobbies when your life brand is not so tied to your job?
Yeah. Oh, 100%. And well, obviously it's going to be a bit of a struggle and balance, but I know initially I was really like, it's like this when you start a new job, you can't put not a bit of a front up, but you put on a bit of a mask and you're performing it in a bit of a certain way. And then I kind of had a bit of a realization moment. I was like, the reason why I have good people skills and communication skills and able to, make quality connections is because I am myself. I'm not putting something else on. So once I kind of had that realization, I just kind of took a step back. I was like, I'm not putting on anything for anyone. I'm just going to kind of come in, be myself, still professional. And after that, I kind of had a bit of a cathartic moment. I had a breath out. I was like, I'm starting to enjoy it now.
Yeah.
You have a bit of fun with it. But it's all just that thing of like building that confidence, like having that, building that confidence that you actually know what you're talking about. Because if you're selling something, you need to, be 100% educated and know what you're selling. So definitely, it's good. It's fun.
Yeah, we were talking about this last night, how you're sort of in that moment of your, I guess, early 20s.
Yeah.
Where you're sort of focused on your career now.
Yeah.
That's sort of what you were sort of talking about.
Yeah. Well, we were talking about like how unfortunately there's no really right way to do your 20s. So there was that Chris Williamson clip where we were talking about you can either, live up, travel, experience, spend, every dollar in your savings, just experiencing everything in life, and kind of get to 30 and you're like an over-experienced, underskilled 30-year-old. Or on the other side of the coin, you just work like an absolute dog to really set yourself up. But then you get to 30 and you've kind of missed a portion of your prime and you're overskilled and underexperienced, and there's no really right way to do it. I guess you can have a balance, but one side is always going to kind of be, stronger than the other, and you just kind of got to decide which one you want to be.
Yeah. So how are you feeling with that?
I think it's definitely prioritizing skill over experience at the moment. But then, like, just clicking over to 24, that's a space that I feel comfortable in.
Being at.
Yeah. It's a stage of my life where
that's the trade-off you want to make, basically.
That's the thing. Like when you're working towards anything, there's always going to be sacrifices. It's just like, what sacrifices are you prepared to make? And I said, like, my bottom line is that, like, I see my friends once a week, I see my family once a week. At the moment, that's enough for me, and that still, gives me what I believe to be a good quality of life. So as long as I'm still ticking those boxes, I'm pretty happy with it.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty interesting.
Yeah. So that's been full on. But
how have you sort of felt, like going through your 20s, and do you feel like you lived it up or skilled it up? What was it? Live it up, work it up?
Oh no, I've constantly told you guys, like I look at you guys and go, oh geez, I wish I was that developed when I was your respectable ages, because I wasn't. Like this whole self-development stuff, as we've had this discussion in the past, it's only been in the last, really done properly in the last few years, right? It wasn't something that, like, you started your business at like 17 or started getting into stuff at some ridiculous age.
One of the first businesses.
Yeah. Like I was still a fetus at 17. Yeah. And so I guess I think I'm just a late bloomer in that regard. But I mean, I don't think it really matters. Like
no, that's true, eh?
I kind of, like, I was a late bloomer to this industry of financial planning, but I just realized that I was kind of coming to it later in my late 20s. Yeah. But I have now scaled up, and the learning curve I've forced myself to, it was exponential more so than my peers in this industry. Therefore, I'm now quite at a level, but after only 5 years. And so I don't know. I was just passionate about one thing. Yeah. Maybe I just didn't find what I was passionate about throughout all my 20s, and I didn't have enough drive to do it.
No, but also too, like the thing I think about all the time is like, when I was first starting, I was like, man, if I got into this when I was like, if I got into real estate when I was 19, I would be like miles ahead of where I am now.
Absolutely.
It's like the same thing. But then like the life experience and things that led to where I am now have aided me in finding success. And that's the thing too. Like, if you got into financial planning straight after uni, you probably wouldn't have found the same success because you wouldn't have known what the grass on the other side.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It's like butterfly effect.
Yeah,
exactly. Something small happened back when I was maybe 23 that's led to this point that I'm at now. Yeah. But like, we can all agree that we have no regrets.
No.
Yeah.
Like, the path that we're on is, and we've discussed this, the path that we're on is the path that we're on. Yeah. And we just don't have any regrets.
That's the thing, you can't change it anyway.
No, you can't change it anyway.
So when you go through that thought process, you just get to the point where you can't change it.
Yeah.
So like, you sort of have to work with what you've done now, which is kind of like why, since, I mean, you're the youngest here, so you sort of have that trajectory to make the decisions now, what you want to focus on.
Yeah.
But I guess for us, like, we've already made those decisions. We've already gone through and worked or experienced life. So it's sort of like looking towards the future. And like you said, you've already made the most of that time where you were like a little bit older, but you still focused on your career and found something and still leveled up super fast.
And I think like even Ben, you're a good example of it too, because like when I'm going backwards and forwards of this whole like become like, if you just work through your 20s and like kind of start life like at your 30, like you had your career change, 27, 28, and you flicked over, and then you're still had that time to establish yourself. I would say like you're pretty well set up now and you're enjoying things. So like, I don't know, it's a balance, but I don't see like kind of, as long as you're still fit, healthy, energy, you've got your health and things like that, 30's not.
But are these thoughts coming because you're comparing yourself to, like, say, David or Ray when they got into it early? Like, are you comparing yourself, which is why you're now thinking, oh, like, I wish I got into it earlier because I see the guys who got into it earlier and they're now here, but I'm here. Like, are you comparing it to yourself or are you comparing it to others?
Potentially. I think it's just, like, there's two elements to it. It's one, it's like, hey, these are the decisions I'm making. Are these the right decisions? And then I think the other one is... it's hard with real estate. It's a very, obviously a very competitive industry, which another reason why I like it, because I'm obviously quite a competitive person. But like, I think we've spoken about like comparison, the thief of joy, it's the death of creativity, it's all these different things. But I definitely think there are pros and cons to it. I think when it becomes all consuming, that's when it's kind of bad. But I don't think having like a healthy amount of competition is a bad thing. I think it's good. I think if obviously we have all different motivators. If competitiveness is something that drives you and motivates you, and you get satisfaction from it or from whatever different facet, then I don't see it as a bad thing.
Do you guys feel like you're the type of person that if you did get to say 30 or 40 or 50, you would make like a career change or a life change? Like if you just were that, what's it called, like the sunk cost fallacy.
Yeah.
Like you've got 20 years into your career and then you realize you don't enjoy it anymore. Do you feel like you have the confidence to change career paths?
You hear about that story all the time. But it's usually in terms of like business. Like someone's been like a dentist for ages, but then they pursued their hobby of like pottery or something. Yeah. And then they've gotten really successful at the pottery. Yeah. And then that's easily just been the natural progression because there's been this like success factor to it. Yeah. Whereas if the question is, well, could you just become like stop doing financial planning at 50 and start studying veterinarian studies or something? Yeah. Immediately no. Yeah. Like that wouldn't be the thing. But if a hobby came up that became commercially viable for me, that would be me. But that's my personality.
You see the LinkedIn screenshots of the career trajectory, and it'll like be like from associate right up to like Microsoft CEO, and then it goes like chicken farmer.
And then they tap out,
and then they're done.
I think like I have like a really good close experience of this because like my mum was in IT for 20 years. Yeah. And when I was a young kid, like going through starting preschool, she switched to become a teacher and started studying again. Yeah, yeah. And that was just like a completely different shift. And now she's been a teacher for 20 years. Yeah,
yeah. I think one of the reasons why like I literally like left my degree, left my experience, left everything. It wasn't like a pivot. It was like a full change. I knew because I had the safety of being in my 20s that it was something that I can do. But I think if I had a family, I had people I need to provide for, I had a mortgage and things like that.
That's what I mean.
You don't have as much flexibility. I think anything probably past 30, I would be more likely to pivot rather than change. If I was like in business, like potentially going from like, again, accounting to auditing or financial planning within your industry, but to start from scratch all over again. You got to have the energy to do it as well.
Yeah, you got to have the energy. But it's also like weighing up whether you do want to be stuck in something that you're not enjoying anymore. Yeah. And then being able to change that.
Yeah.
Which is kind of tough.
What about for you, Brody? How about the change of you've been self-employed forever? Yeah. What if at 40 you went, you know what, like family, all this stuff, I actually need the consistency of a good salary and I know I can get a good job. Would you just start working for the man?
Do you want like the team environment? Like we look at how Angela Bang is like coming in every single day, having people that you enjoy that are passionate about the same things as you.
I mean, there's so many positives, right?
Yeah. Like, or do you want to build that? Do you want to build that team and that?
No, I definitely want to build that at this moment. Yeah. Definitely want to build that. But like you said, if I got to 40 and it was something about like job security and stuff like that, hopefully I would have built it by that time for myself. I don't think I don't think I'm afraid to sort of like change careers or something like that if it doesn't get enjoyable. So I've definitely thought about like, I always check in of like, do I still enjoy what I'm doing? Yeah. Do I still enjoy actually like doing the marketing side of things, helping businesses? And there's so many positives that do come with the job, like sort of workplace environment. Yeah. That I think, especially maybe if you're older, you do sort of have that.
Yeah, those social connections.
Yeah, because like it's so easy now because at the moment, like, again, don't have a family. Yeah, yeah. Don't have like a lot of those responsibilities. But like you said, if you're super far into like your career or like you do have a family, house, all these like things that you need to pay for. Yeah. That does sort of start to weigh in your mind. Yeah. And you're not as likely to take those big risks.
Yeah,
potentially.
100%. Yeah. So if money and like status were not part of the equation, do you think you would still be doing what you're doing?
My thought process for this always goes to like, if money was no object or like you could do whatever and you'd be fine. Yeah. Like I always start thinking of like traveling. Yeah. Like just traveling.
Just traveling the world.
Yeah, like just traveling the world, which is obviously something like I think I'm definitely trying to work towards. Yeah. But then there is the pressures of like being able to thrive or build that future for yourself where like you do have the financial freedom and things like that.
Yeah. If you're looking at like obviously if we didn't have to work, we'd all just be on a bloody yacht in the middle of the like Mediterranean Sea or whatever. But like if you're still looking at it in the context of like a somewhat traditional job, and like the only reason I throw status in there is like there's a lot of people that money's like not their motivators. Like I saw it all the time in recruitment. Like they wouldn't argue over the salary, but the title would be like the drawing point. So that's something that's, especially in that business and that corporate world, can be quite a like point of contention. So it's like, if at the end of the day, like money and either of those weren't part of the equation, what would you want to do Monday to Friday for the rest of your life?
Not to segue off this, but I just think, little tidbit, I think it's funny that you could just like technically start a business and then you can have your title be whatever you want.
Yeah.
That's a little pro tip.
We have
pro tip, just if you want to, then you can just put it on your resume that you're CFO, CEO.
When Liam started playing studios, we were going backwards and forwards for like 3 days of what to think. I think we ended up going like creative director or something.
Oh, nice.
That makes sense.
Cool. Yeah,
that's cool.
I was like, but like you're the only director. Like it's just you know what I mean?
You missed out all the jobs you did. Yeah.
I'm also creative director. It's like, Ben, you're a financial planner. I was like, creative director.
I think it was funny because like I started off like very much like around the startup world, and I think when I started mine I had founder, and I think I hadn't changed it for ages, and then Mira was like, why is your thing? She's like,
what'd you find?
Yeah, she's like, what did you found? Like,
what is it now?
I don't even know. I think I changed it to owner after that. Like,
it's honestly just a big ego hit, like depending on what you call yourself. And that's why a lot of people get into business, as you're just saying, like so that they can have some sort of status, or they look a certain way because I'm a business owner, founder, creative director, and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But say it to my face.
I just think it's funny that
He's doing it right now.
But it's so funny like that, and we talk about like climbing that corporate ladder, like the status that comes with associate, senior associate, manager, general manager, and I always found that so interesting. Like you can have your goal as life to be the general manager, but if you're a general manager of like a little accounting firm with 6 people in it versus the general manager of a hotel that employs 300 employees, like it's still the same title, but it doesn't mean the same thing.
Yeah, that's very true as well. I think like another interesting point of that is, what do you think of like when you're in your jobs or like you're in a workplace, the idea of like having to strip back your ego so that you're not always taking credit for everything. You know what I mean? Because that title thing very much comes from people having an ego around their title. Yeah. But then also getting credit for the work that you're doing. Do you sort of feel like that's important to building your career as well, of making sure you get the credit for what you're doing, or not having an ego so you're like, I'm just doing this for the betterment of the company?
I even think it comes back to like credit. I think it comes back to like your motivators, like intrinsic or external versus internal. Yeah. And like obviously getting credit and someone patting you on the back and saying you did a good job is external. But if you're already getting like internal satisfaction that you're proud of the work that you're producing, you're happy about it, then I guess you probably don't need someone to come pat you on the back and say,
it totally depends on the person though, because I thrive off a bit of validation saying that I did a good job with stuff, and it make me work harder. So I think it just depends on the person.
That's so true.
That's cool. Yeah.
I'm thinking of it from also the perspective of like, if you are trying to advance in your career, is it important to make sure you're getting the recognition for the work that you're putting in, or are you being overlooked? Because I definitely know when I had like, say, a more corporate job, it was I was like, oh, it doesn't really matter if I get the recognition for this. But then I've also seen it in other people's jobs where they talk about like they've been overlooked because other people are taking the credit for their work in the workplace, or they're not getting the same opportunities because they're not being highlighted, or people just totally overlook them in that case.
I think it's tricky. I think that's when something like a KPI comes in really important, because it's like that's that tangible evidence that you are good at your job. And if you need to hit 8 out of 10 targets for the week, then that's something you can use. But in something where you're not being like regularly performance managed, you're not having check-ins with your manager, there's not a really clear kind of path forward. Like at the end of the day, that pat on the back is just a good job, and it's not really going to get you any further at the end of the day. That's something that I really struggled with, like with that kind of really corporate structure, because it's like, well, there isn't really a position above me. And like if I kind of do the good work, like, yeah, because someone can say, hey, you're doing a good job, but it's not really going to change anything. Whereas like now there's a direct result where like if I do good work, I get paid more. And it's like, I know that there's that satisfaction because I, you know, can see it in my bank account.
That's true.
So
yeah. No, in the absence of pats on the back, because my bosses aren't ones to just stand that out. And yeah, I came from a workplace where there was more validation shown. And then I got to this where I'm at now. I'm just like, am I doing the right thing? Like, am I, like, it's a new industry and everything like that. How do I know if I'm doing the right thing? In the absence of that, I suppose the fact that I'm still employed there is a heap of responsibility put on me. And I get pay rises. I think that's just kind of like subconsciously telling me that, that's the reinforcement. Because if it wasn't, then they'd be pulling me up and saying otherwise. But in the last, as you know, I'm on this kind of journey to build my own personal brand. That has delivered far more weight in terms of validation than I've ever been provided by the people I work with. Because I was just at this party last night, and the law firm that I presented one of my Money Masterclass lunch and learn sessions to, she came up to me and she was just like, oh, did you think it was weird that there was like the partners in that thing? It was like meant for the younger people. I'm just like, I don't know why they were there. It was like for like more accumulators and younger people, and I was just doing it for the staff. And she's just like, I've never seen the partners all like get together and actually talk about a presenter of like how good you did. And she's just like, I've never seen that. She's just like this. She's like, this may not mean anything to you, but I've been there for years, and they were talking about you way after what you did. And I was just like, that's mint. Like that's all the pat on the back I need. But the thing is, I think the absence of it from internal, I've chased it maybe outside, and it's actually pushed me to go into the direction that I'm now wanting to go in. Maybe if I was getting that validation and pats on the back, it might have actually coddled me and made me soft, and I wouldn't have jumped outside of my comfort zone to actually make the opportunity for validation personally. So I don't know.
I love that. I mean, because that's sort of like feedback that you are sort of having an impact then as well.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Even though it feels good to obviously get the recognition and compliments and all that sort of stuff, you are still having an impact, which is the actual factor.
I didn't hear it until I did that weeks and weeks ago. And I only just heard it yesterday. But after doing it, I felt good. And that was kind of all the validation I needed. If anything came out from it, well, I've got a new client from it. But that's it was nice to hear. But
it's so interesting. And I really struggled with this coming like from university to like that first consulting role that I was in, because it's like you literally get positive feedback and pats on the back for every single piece of work you do. Like you work your ass off on an assignment, an exam, an oral presentation, like whatever it is, and they say, oh, like good job, here's your HD, here's your distinction, here's your HD, and it's like, oh, like I worked really hard and then I got a really good result, and they told me I was really, really good. Where I came into this first role and I was like working my ass off, and it was just like just nothing. It's like, oh, okay, you've done that, cool, good, you've done, send it out, and I'm just sitting there like, oh, like, is this just gonna be the rest of my life? And like Dad said to me, he's like, 9 out of 10 things you do is just going to go unnoticed, and one, you might get like a good job or a pat on the back, or they'll be like, hey, fix this, it's not correct. And that's probably the other thing on the other side of the coin, is like, if they're not telling you're doing a good job, they're also not telling you you're doing a bad job. So they're not performance managing you and being like, hey, pick this up, fix this, that. And so like the lack of constructive criticism or feedback is somewhat positive feedback, like depending on how you view it as well too. So I guess it all kind of works a little bit differently.
And it's good that you found that yourself as well, because now you have something that you sort of have control over.
And it's what's happened is it's actually sculpted me to the path that I'm actually a lot more comfortable on now, and it's given me the confidence. Whereas before, if I was just getting potential pats on the back, I may not be where I'm going now, and so I have a lot to thank for the lack of thanks.
I always think that's so interesting as well, just from like that manager's perspective or the business owner's perspective. Like, again, it's a balance, because you want your employees to enjoy their workplace and you want them to feel good, and sometimes you do want to tell them they're doing a good job, but it would be really easy for them to kind of slip into complacency and like being like, oh, I'm doing a good job, and just kind of relax a little bit. So maybe by like dangling that carrot a little bit more of not giving the feedback, it keeps people hungry.
That's probably where you get those toxic bosses that are just like keep people like anxious to make sure that they're always performing in a heightened state.
It's a fine line though, between like toxic, because I think that's the concept of, like, you probably would have read into it, transformational leadership, where like you're a boss and all the literature says that you want to have like a great culture and a really empowered workforce. You have to empower them to be like independent and strong and everything. But there's a fine line, because you get them to a point where they then dip out and do their own thing. So like you're constantly playing this game of like, well, I need him to grow. I don't want to coddle him. But he's also, if he gets too far, then he'll just bow out.
Well, that's like, that mindset that people have of like, what is the point of trying to train someone, because then they're just going to leave.
That's correct.
Like so many people have that mindset as well.
I think that, I've been in workplaces, I've never had my own thing. I've always been employed, and I've seen the spectrum of employees. And there will always be the subset of people who will perpetually be employees because they just do not have that mindset to do their own thing, no matter how trained they are. And you see it in accounting firms and law firms all the time. Like I worked with people that were there for 30 years. They're not equity. They're not partners. They are perpetual salarymen. Businesses also need to hire those people.
You need to have your superstars, your heavy hitters, and then you also need the people that keep the cogs turning.
Well, they call it, in our industry, it's probably the same with everyone, finders, minders and grinders.
I've never heard that.
Finders are the rainmakers, the ones that find the money, and then they'll probably go off and do their own thing. But finders, there's way less finders than there are grinders. And then the minders are just the people that are in the middle.
Just minding their business.
There's also too,
minding their business.
their business.
It probably is that.
But then there's also things that like motivate people differently. Like we were talking about, salaries one, status and titles another one. But sometimes people value that either like flexibility or the stability that comes with the workplace as well too. So again, like you have someone that has other commitments outside of life and they need to have that flexibility, like whether it's kids or a partner or something like that. They could be really, really happy in their, boss and trusting them and respecting them enough to be like, you get the work done when you need it to. So sometimes it's that environment and that culture that people value more than like an extra zero on your paycheck or things like that as well too. So that, I guess, everyone has those different motivators to come to work and to be there.
Yeah.
True that.
Yeah.
That's so true.
So is that why you didn't come to the Halloween party last night, because you were networking? Was it like, was it a business thing?
Just getting that validating networking, baby.
I would have validated you if you came.
No, I did the right thing. I was invited to one first, and so I
so you went to the one that you invited to first.
That you want to go
to that
more.
one. I'm 32, guys. I don't have the stamina to do 2 parties in a night anymore. I can't do that.
What'd you dress up as again?
Jala and I did Pulp Fiction.
Love it,
Nice.
Classic.
It was good.
And Buzz Lightyear for you.
Buzz Lightyear.
We have it, and then Scream.
Scream.
Michael Myers.
Michael Myers, Halloween.
The GOAT.
The GOAT, the GOAT.
Top 4 Mikes.
Yeah.
Mike Tyson, Mike Jackson, Mike Jordan, Mike Myers.
In that order.
Michael Scott. Yeah.
Michael Scott. Oh.
Now we're talking about the goats.
I'm prison Mike.
See, he's about to fight again.
Mike Tyson?
Yeah.
Is he?
At 59, he's
Who's he
fighting? Jake Paul.
Oh,
Come on.
Exhibition match,
But
right?
like,
Nonsense.
I wouldn't get in a ring with him. It's such a typical like beer question. Like, you've had a couple of beers.
Five bears or 5 small bears or 1 big bear. Yeah.
If you got paid the amount of money in direct correlation to the age of Mike Tyson, at what age would you fight him? So he's 5 years old. I'm going to say $100,000. So if he's 5
To beat up a 5-year-old Mike Tyson.
You get $500,000. At what age would you fight him at?
5.
5? You want to go?
All right, he makes it to 7 and I'm in trouble.
Wasn't he like a junior champ or something like that?
At 12 he was fighting at like real
Oh
adults
no, it's
and
got to be way less. 4 maybe?
You're just going to drop kick a baby Mike Tyson.
For 500 grand, man.
Take a cool 100K and just fucking invest it.
I like that.
Yeah.
What age does it go up to?
Actually, that's smart. I've never heard someone ask that. 100-year-old Mike Tyson. Just push him down some stairs.
Out of the ring. Just
yeah, it's not even in the ring anymore.
This is good. So is this going to be our emceeing on the day of this event?
Yeah. So we've got an event.
We're going to talk about this stuff.
We do. So we have. Should I probably get some fact checks up? Should I get some dates and times and things like that?
Absolutely.
Toastie Boy.
Yeah, Toastie Boy.
Tell us about Toastie Boy.
Direct correlation with ammo. So
who is Toastie Boy?
Toastie Boy is Michael. So he is the head chef / owner / founder.
Another Mike.
Founder, creative director
of Ammo House.
So he's the sixth goat.
Yeah, the sixth goat. So yeah, they obviously have Ammo House, and they also have Toasties, which not too many good places in Cairns currently to get Toasties.
It's been lacking a little bit.
They found that gap in the market, and they created Toastie Boy cans. So along with the launch, they're having an event on the 17th of November from 10 a.m. till 2 p.m. and it's Toastie and Chill cans. So they've got a couple different partners that are sponsoring it and supporting it. So they're going to have Recovery Lab there. So we're going to have Ice Baths. We've got DJ. Sam's going to be there from Sam Pennis. He'll be there. So they'll be kind of drinks on tap.
Oh, wow.
10 a.m. cocktails.
Yeah, 10 a.m. cocktails, damn.
Which is like that's when you want one.
And a Toastie.
And a Toastie,
yeah. I like that.
So ticketed.
It was unlimited Toasties, right?
Yeah. So yeah, you get your ticket, drink on entry, unlimited. Yeah, but also, how many Toasties are you going to eat back to back? Like, I think after the second or third one,
I'm putting them in a backpack. Oh, man. I'm putting them in a backpack.
I'm bringing Tupperware.
Yeah. Is this our ad reel for them? Yeah. It's just like, this guy's going to steal all our Toasties.
We will be doing bag checks upon entry.
I mean, that's like meal prep. It's on a Sunday. Meal prep for week,
yeah, come down to Toastie. We come down to the event.
Do your meal prep. Get your ice bar.
Yeah, get your ice bar.
Have a little cocktail. Listen to Cam MC.
That sounds elite.
MC.
Oh yeah, it's us. Yeah.
MCing together. But yeah, no, I think it's a really cool event. Like we touched on it kind of on Sam's episode. We've probably spoken about a couple other times how we're slowly seeing that decline in like
drinking culture.
Yeah, drinking culture and that kind of Friday, Saturday night clubbing and things like that. And
it's just moved to Sunday morning.
Yeah, it's moved. I'm sure some people are still kicking on Sunday morning from their Saturday night.
You're gonna have people that come out of the club and then stick around and then go to the casino for a little bit, then head over to Toastie Boy at 10 a.m.
Just that, I'm sure that sounds really attractive to all the people considering coming. Just some.
We're taking this out of the reel.
We'll make sure they're not there. Don't worry.
No, we'll kick them out.
But yeah, gonna have a DJ, and it's just gonna be whether you just finish your morning Pilates or you run on the Esplanade and you just feeling fresh, feeling wholesome.
It's true. Is there anything around that? Like, are they doing like a morning run or something, a workout? Or?
No, so they've got the gym next door, the Muay Thai gym.
Pretty Muay Thai?
Yeah. The
Sweet.
one, shout out Sia, where she trains to kill people. So they're going to have that. So I think they're going to have like little challenges and games and different events and stuff like that too.
Oh, like they're going to have Muay Thai sparring?
Potentially, yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, no, I think
where do people
really
go to find more about this camp?
So yeah, they've got all the posters on the Instagram. We'll be posting some content for it around on our channels and things like that with links and tagged and everything.
So what date was it again?
17th November, 10 a.m.
Sunday, 17th November, 10 a.m. Get your tickets.
Yeah, keep your Sunday free. And yeah, we'll come see us for a chat, coffee and a toastie.
How fun.
Yeah, I think it's good. I really I think Cairns is doing some pretty cool things lately.
Yeah.
And we've seen bits and pieces where like it's like pretty big over in America and like similar kind of events and things like that. So it's good to know, Cairns is normally pretty behind other bits and pieces. And we've beaten Melbourne and Sydney and all the other big cities on this one.
They haven't done it at all.
No, at all. It does not even exist.
So this is the first one for Cairns.
Yeah, first Cairns. Cool. So hopefully
it can be more regular.
Yeah. So I think they're looking at maybe doing like monthly.
Love that.
Or every 2 months or something like that.
Shout out Mike for putting it together.
Yeah, shout out Mike.
We're going to do a ice bath?
Yeah, look, it's been a while.
We should
run the ice bath back.
We should.
Yeah. I'll bring my best pair of budgie smugglers. I'm ready to jump in.
That's the other selling point.
How's the last couple of weeks been? I haven't seen you.
Last couple of weeks, you've been off finding yourself in Japan.
Japan was elite.
Yeah.
Like you've been. It is
elite.
It's different. It's clean. It's polite.
Safe.
It's safe. Oh my word! It's just it's weird.
Yeah.
It's weird just walking down the street and there's no crime, there's no nothing. Like it's almost like
even like the
fabricated.
Yakuza don't want to mess with people. Like,
Nah, Yakuza just chilling, showing off their tats and stuff.
Did you hide yours the whole time?
Yeah, my Yakuza rose tat. Yeah.
They're like, what gang?
Yeah. Everyone's just like moving around me on the subway, just like, don't mess with him. He's got one rose on his bicep.
One of us, leave him alone.
You got a skull as well, so.
Yeah, man, we're tatted up now.
I've got cards.
I've
got cards as well. Oh my god.
Just our three most.
Don't mess with us.
Our little petite boy tattoos.
Don't mess with us.
We're harder than we seem. Like
super hard roadmen.
So hard right now.
No, it was good. I can't wait to go back.
Yeah,
it was beautiful.
It's so interesting because like it's like such a mix of traditional culture and then like futuristic technology.
Yeah, and
it's like blended into one.
Well, what's struck me was their adoption of Western culture, and mainly Americana. Their vintage stores are all American brands. The kids are all wearing American brands. Everything that is like a US football team name or a state or a city, it is plastered everywhere. They love that shit. So that was really weird. And I think the massive adoption of coffee culture now is so huge. Like there's
massive
way more
cult
cafes than
culture.
like tea houses that I saw. So it's really, again, I think it's just the fascination of Western culture. Like Halloween, like I wasn't there for it, but you see videos and photos from it. It is massive over there. Massive. So yeah, that was quite interesting. But absolutely loved it.
Did you use a bidet?
Yes.
Good experience.
Different.
Yeah.
Different. I hesitated. There's also these like toilets that are built into the floor.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And you got a proper squat.
Yeah.
I wasn't game.
Wasn't game for that.
But what was weird was that I went into a bathroom and there was like stalls, like 3 normal toilet stalls, and then one of like the drop one on the floor.
Yeah.
Guy walks in,
and goes straight
pass, straight for the floor one.
Wow.
It's like, bro, that's there was 3 perfectly normal toilets.
But
what
it's
do you
so
do?
common. That's why they put
culture.
the signs up here to be like, don't squat.
Don't squat on the toilet.
Yeah.
I can't get amongst
what that
it.
is. Yeah.
I'd make a mess.
Yeah.
I just like the logistics of just like, hang on.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Have you never dug a hole in the bush?
You never popped a squat?
Yes. I'm not doing it on like tiles. Like when there's a perfectly good toilet there. I don't want to do that. That was weird.
So what was like the highlight for you? What was some of the highlights?
Probably, I thought I'd have the most fun in Tokyo, but Tokyo would be at the bottom of my list.
Yeah.
Hiroshima was
beautiful,
elite. Yeah, it had all the trappings of like the major cities. Like you go to downtown Hiroshima and it's like Gucci and Chanel and all the big brands, and just like you're walking down the cities of Melbourne, streets of Melbourne or something. Yeah. But then there was obviously the historical aspect of it. So that was fascinating to learn a bit more about it, and like the restoration of some of the buildings, like the dome and stuff like
crazy,
that. Yeah, it's wild. But had so much fun, hired e-bikes, and me and Damien were just loose around the city, absolutely annoying the locals and not adhering to the biking laws, and just like we're having so much fun.
Popping
like,
wheelies down the main road.
Get off your bike at this point. You're just like, skirt.
Yeah, we did a few skirts, but yeah, that was probably a highlight, and the food, of course, and the convenience.
Of course, yeah. Any like top food places? We were asking Damo this last night.
Probably okonomiyaki.
Yeah.
Is that the octopus balls?
No, that's takoyaki.
Yeah.
So okonomiyaki is like this pancake thing.
Yeah.
Fire.
Yeah, where they put a bunch of stuff on it and you can like tailor it, but they'll do it in front of you.
Is it sweet or savoury?
No, it's all savoury.
Savoury.
Yeah,
Okay,
but
cool.
and it was just every night we'd come back and, you know, wherever we've been, however much beer we've drunk, and it's just like, okay, 7-Eleven, Lawson's, Family Mart, the convenience stores, and you pick up onigiri, some fried chicken, and ice cream, and it was
like
just
a really good
elite.
like pork sandwich or something.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
pork katsu, curry sandwich, and everything, and you just like you've had dinner.
Yeah.
Like here, you have dinner,
Yeah.
you go to bed. I was just like, second dinner.
It feels.
It was great,
Doing
but
your
everything was so
after-dinner walk.
cheap. It was
Yeah.
so cheap.
I remember that too. Like, I love being able to just walk in. You could just get like a warm tea or something out of like a vending machine.
Yeah,
in the 7-Eleven.
You can get a hot coffee out of like what looks like a cold fridge.
Yeah.
Which is such a trip.
Yeah.
But it was great. Everything was cheap. So good time to go. The yen is at all-time lows. So
get
it's
over
very
there.
good for Aussies to,
Yeah,
to smash up their
everyone I've
currency.
spoken to is there at the moment.
I saw I feel like
Yeah.
1 million people have been there.
Yeah, it's because Jess
our
had
friend group.
those cheap flight
Yeah.
deals.
We're
And I
pretty
think
lucky,
they're running
though.
them
Pretty
out next
lucky.
year as well.
Yeah.
So
Starting November.
Do it.
let's go.
Where are you guys going next?
We just came back from Travis Scott.
Yeah.
Oh,
We're going to
yeah.
Melbourne.
Tell us about that experience.
It was exciting. It was definitely like
Ben looked at Mira. Was it?
Yeah, I'm looking at Mira, looking at like.
It was. I had a good time.
Okay, well there you go.
But like this is my line of
yeah.
every worst person at a festival is the whole crowd there.
Oh no.
They were just like psychos on drugs,
Okay.
on drinking, little like rat 16-year-olds stealing people's seats. Like,
Gross.
Yeah.
It was crazy because like objectively I can say that there was parts that obviously sucked about it.
Yeah.
But it was still such a great experience.
And like
some of
you've
the
been listening to him since what you're like 13.
Yeah.
To actually see him live for the first time would have been insane.
Exactly.
And it was your first like proper concert, hey?
Yeah, first like
Yeah.
major concert.
Same.
Yeah.
So it was sick.
Yeah, some of like the downsides, like it was a great experience. Obviously, seeing someone that you've listened to like all their songs, but then some of those downsides are like, yeah,
The people attending the concert.
Yeah.
but like
People
even,
in general.
even for him, like his show felt really short. Like it was like an hour and 15 minutes, I think.
Oh, that's tiny.
Yeah.
Like super short. Songs like you really wanted to hear were probably like cut short and stuff like that.
Did he do that whole blend thing? Like
Yeah,
blending
there was,
two,
like,
three
yeah.
popular songs?
Yeah.
Did who was the other artist that came out? On the
There
night
was
of it?
no one.
No.
No
Yeah,
support.
There was no support. So I think he had a DJ open up, and we timed it perfectly because we like looked at all the times for stuff. So we like opened at 5:30, started at 7:30, and that was the opening act. And then we got there at like 7:45 or 8, and then he came on at like. We got to our seats at like 8:30 something, and then he came on at like 9.
Yeah.
That's
And
pretty
so
good.
we perfectly timed it.
Yeah.
But yeah, everyone was complaining online and stuff around like, oh, he was so late. Because I think they read the times wrong. Like they thought
Yeah.
he started at 7:30.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got there. There was like 3 16-year-olds or something, like these young guys just in our seats. Because I looked down the row that we were on.
Yeah.
And just there was no empty seats in our row. And I'm like, that's
Something's
weird.
wrong.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like so I started going and I couldn't see because everyone's sitting down on what number seats are.
Yeah.
Got halfway and I like asked these 2 girls. I was like, "Oh, what seat number are you guys at?" And they're like, "Oh, 12." So I counted up, went to our seats, which was like 18, 19, and these young kids just looked at me and they're like, "Oh snap!" And they're like, "Oh, we'll move."
Yeah.
I was like,
And then you beat up 316.
Basically.
"We had a repeat of it."
Repeat.
Oh, no, that episode's not out. We
I
don't talk
cut
about
that
that.
out. I think I cut that from that episode.
No, we deleted that.
But no, it's so funny because they told me that some older guys took their seats further down, and I was like,
Yeah, right.
I was like, okay, well, like there's empty seats there, just go sit there or something. And then the show started, and then some other people came and kicked them out of those seats.
Those people were so much like ruder than we were.
Yeah.
Like they screamed at them to be like, get the
Wow.
my seat. Like, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I guess if you're paying $200 to be there, then like you want to have your seat.
How much were the tickets?
it's secret.
Okay.
secret.
All right. I want in.
Oh, it's a birthday present.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
I'll take that.
Yeah.
but yeah, that was it was short but fun. Like,
Yeah.
it was still a good experience.
And then we went back to a Halloween party and it was equally as fun.
Yeah.
You were a furry, was it? Where'd you
Oh
go for that?
yeah.
You can explain the story. I'm not just going to leave it there.
I thought we'd just leave it there so
Yeah.
that people can question.
There was like random stuff that you could dress up as, and you had a tail.
Well, we got there and our friends were like, "Oh, come to this Halloween party before you go to Travis Scott." And pretty much, we didn't obviously have a costume because we hadn't planned for a Halloween party. And they just pulled out their suitcase full of all these different costumes that they've racked up over the years. And there was all these different like options of just random things that you could just chuck on.
But like most of it was fairy wings, a Robin Hood hat, more fairy wings.
And then we were like rushing to
A
go
bunny.
out.
Nice.
Yeah, we were like rushing to go out. So I just like, I think you like grabbed it.
I was like, be a cat.
Yeah, I was like, all right, sweet, I'll just do that. And then we got there. And then literally, Mira was like, "Oh, reshare this post of us, and I knew as soon as I like reshared it, like 3 or 4 messages just came in like from my mates of just like, oh, so you're a furry, huh?
The way you responded it to me, I was like, this is not the first time it's been asked.
I think it, like within 10 minutes, like you, Zach, like someone else, like all came in with it. I was like, yep, that's what I expected.
Yeah, well, that's how it is sometimes.
Yeah. So how about you? Any other travels? You've just been locked in. Any travels coming up?
Yeah, I want to do a little like a long weekend in Byron. I was hitting up one of my mates further down south and just do like long weekend, relax, no traveling. There'll be no agenda, there'll be no schedule. I'm gonna sit by a pool and just exist for like 3 days. But I keep saying that, and I probably won't end up booking it in. But there's best made plans.
Still waiting to get that share house with all the mates.
Yeah, Mission Beach. That's about 2 years. Still in the group chat.
2 years. Hasn't
Feels
made it out of the group
like
chat.
So yeah, no, we'll book something. I was thinking about maybe just doing like a little solo night in Port Douglas. Just go book a little hotel room and just kind of have a bit of me time. But yeah, nothing planned yet. We'll see how we go.
Cool.
Yeah.
What about you, Mira?
You guys?
How's Bang going?
Yeah.
Oh, it's going really well.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I'm here on my weekend, so obviously it's really good.
Oh, no.
Don't sound too excited about it.
You got that real estate schedule 7 days a week.
No, it's really good. Doing heaps of cool jobs, like like learning how to use green screens and stuff like that.
Oh, right.
Yeah. My business cards got printed.
Goodness.
And
You got to put your title on it.
I got asked what my title was, and I was like, I don't know.
Creative director. Angela comes in. No, I think that's me. Card says it.
Talking
He's
about
the founder.
validation and like about titles, it got printed as lead content specialist, and I was like, slay, I'm the leader here.
That's pretty sick.
No, but really good, just really busy, like every single day doing different shoots, basically.
Yeah.
We were saying that Mira and I are in very similar, positions at the moment.
Yeah, literally.
Where
guys are in grind mode.
Yeah, and like, you know how like I've got my own photography stuff on the side. Like I haven't even had space for that, it feels like, because I've just been so focused here and like learning. And I'm like, okay, I'll do 7 till 6 p.m. Like that's fine. I've got to keep learning and keep going.
Yeah. But it's really nice. Everything you're learning now is going to translate so nice over to your other little side hustle as well. So it all links up.
And also just everyone at Bang is lovely.
Yeah.
Like
it's such a
really
good culture.
Good. Yeah. And I get along with like Angela really well because we have to work together a lot.
Get to work together.
Sorry, yes, get together, not have to work together. But yeah, it's good. It's good.
Oh, that's great to hear.
It's like we're getting this out of the way, hey man.
No, I didn't mean it like that. Morning's always good though. to get things out of the way in this podcast.
All right,
Well,
that's it.
That's
So,
awesome.
Well,
It's great to catch up, obviously.
it's good to see you boys.
It's
Been a long time.
Yeah,
Didn't know how this would go, but it feels good to be back.
feels very, very good to be back.
Missed you guys.
Gives us a good little break. 17th November.
17th.
Toastie
Lock
and
it in.
chill. Come have a toastie and a coffee with us. We'll be talking about it again beforehand. Any questions, let us know. Otherwise, adios.
See you there. Bye.
Cheers, bye.
Bye.